You're watching a Highwire Media podcast. Welcome to the Big D Breakdown Show. As always, I'm your host, Larry Leese. Today, we're diving into all the latest headlines coming out of Arlington. But before we do that, give me your thoughts on the topics we've covered in the comment section below. And let me know if I got anything wrong or what you thought of the topics. So, right off the bat, we're going to take a look at Dak Prescott cracking a fascinating list that's giving Cowboy fans hope for 2025. Because this is exactly what fans want to hear. Dak Prescott was an MVP candidate during the 2023 season, leading the Cowboys to an impressive 12-5 record. But the 2024 season was certainly not one of his best, as the Cowboys got off to a 3-5 start, and Prescott did not play particularly well. Prescott had his moments last season, comeback win versus Pittsburgh, but he just wasn't nearly as effective as he had been in the previous year. It's not all his fault, as the offensive line took a major step backward, and he didn't have a viable number 2 receiver. The defense got off to an incredibly slow start, and that forced Prescott and the offense to press. However, it's okay to admit that Prescott needed to play better. But the good news is that everything is setting up for Prescott to have a career year in Dallas. The addition of George Pickens, along with the selection of Tyler Booker, should have the offense ready to roll right away. The Cowboys are hopeful that the run game will improve this year, and that should help take some of the work off Prescott's plate. In a recent article by Dalton Wasserman of PFF, he named a player from all 32 teams who is poised to have a bounce-back season this year, and that list included none other than Dak Prescott. This is what he said about the league's highest-paid quarterback going into the 2025 season, saying, quote, "A bounce back from Dak Prescott could signal a return to the postseason for Dallas in 2025. After earning a career-high 90.0 PFF grade and finishing second in NFL MVP voting in 2023, Prescott followed it up with a career-worst 67.2 passing grade last season. The Cowboys' lack of offensive balance and wide receiver depth played a role, but Prescott also posted a career-high 4.7% turnover-worthy play rate. With improved health and the additions of Tyler Booker and Pickens, Prescott will have every opportunity to return to form in 2025. The addition of Pickens will finally give the Cowboys another outside receiver with CeeDee Lamb. Who can beat signal coverage. Pickens is a flawed player, but he is one of the league's best deep threats, and his natural ability is off the charts. If Pickens can stay focused for the 2025 season, there is no reason why he can't be an 1,100-yard receiver and score double-digit touchdowns in this offense. But the most important thing for the Cowboys this season is that Prescott needs to stay healthy. He's dealt with several injuries over the last few years and has missed a good chunk of time in 3 of the last 5 seasons. The Cowboys have no chance to make the playoffs if Prescott were to miss time again, and when he's on the field, they need him to get back to the level we saw during the 2021 to 2023 seasons. If he can do that, Prescott and the Cowboys should be right back in the postseason. If not, it's going to be another long offseason with even more questions surrounding the leader of the team. So, before we move on, let me know in the comments section below, with Dak Prescott, do you think he's the franchise quarterback for the Cowboys? Or do you think the Cowboys do need to get rid of him eventually? With a trade, per se. And now on to our next topic. Micah Parsons is on the cusp of claiming the title Cowboy fans know he deserves. The Dallas Cowboys will have their 3rd defensive coordinator in 3 seasons, with Matt Eberflus now in charge. They will also face significant problems in the secondary, with Jordan Lewis out of the picture and Trayvon Diggs rehabbing from another knee injury. But the main reason why Cowboy fans should feel optimistic about the state of their defense is none other than Micah Parsons. A high ankle sprain in Week 4 caused Parsons to miss 4 games last season, and it was clear he wasn't 100% healthy when he got back on the field. However, he still managed to have a Pro Bowl season, and he recorded 12-plus sacks for the 4th consecutive season. Reggie White is the only other player in NFL history to record 12-plus sacks or more in 4 straight seasons to start their career. But where does Parsons rank among his peers going into his age 26 season? In a recent article by Ryan Smith of PFF, he wrote about the top 32 edge rushers in the NFL going into the 2025 season. That list, of course, included Micah Parsons, who came in at number 2, behind only Myles Garrett. And PFF's reasoning behind Parsons at that spot was explained by Smith, saying, quote, Parsons missed 4 games last season, the first absences of his career due to injury, but still recorded at least 70 pressures for the 4th consecutive year. His 20.2% pass rush win rate trailed only Myles Garrett. Since entering the league, Parsons has been nearly unblockable, and he has earned a PFF pass rush grade of 91.6 or higher in each of his 4 seasons. Parsons doesn't have the raw sack numbers like TJ Watt or Nick Bosa, but he is a much more efficient pass rusher, and his pressure rate is significantly higher than both players. Since coming into the league, sacks can be very quarterback dependent, but creating consistent pressure can just have as big of an impact, and Parsons does that as well as anyone not named Myles Garrett. The only real knock on Parsons is that he isn't an elite run defender, but he certainly isn't deficient in that area. He's made real strides since entering the league when it comes to defending the run on the edge, and the hope is that Eberflus' scheme could help him even further in that area of his game. A healthy and motivated Micah Parsons should be enough to get the Cowboys back on track on defense. He is that type of player who can single-handedly take over games and will his team to victory. Look for Parsons to have another all-pro caliber season and to be in the conversation for his first Defensive Player of the Year award. If he can post another 12-plus sack season with 70-plus pressures, he just might take over the number 1 spot on this list in 2026. And now, on to our next topic. The Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey might be the next victim of Jerry Jones' stubborn history. It's time for the best kicker in the league to get paid. It's a scene that Dallas Cowboy fans have seen for much too long now. There were some serious concerns in regards to the contracts of CeeDee Lamb and Prescott before kickoff last season. It wasn't until the 11th hour when Dallas finalized extensions with both players. That same dilemma exists this offseason with concerns about the future of Micah Parsons. This story is all too familiar for the Jones family, but it's time to stop messing around and give Parsons what he's earned. Some prominent Cowboys that Jones has let walk include Dalton Schultz, Noah Brown, and Amari Cooper. It would be a catastrophe if he were to let one of the best kickers in football do the same. Brandon Aubrey was actually one of the players worth watching during the 2024 season. Sure, there were plenty of injuries, and while they can't be fully blamed on anyone, it was still a refreshing sight to see the Cowboys' automatic weapon makes a pretty insane kick. Yeah, okay, he's a kicker, but he has some teeth to bring to Jones's table. After all, his agent is the same agent that helped extend Prescott's contract, Todd France. With Aubrey setting numerous NFL records in his first 2 seasons, like making 10 field goals of 50 or more yards in consecutive seasons, and being the first to make multiple 59-plus yard field goals in the same game, Aubrey deserves to get paid. The All-Pro also hinted to the Fort Worth Star-Telegram he's already absolutely ready to sign an extension this offseason. Aubrey is also potentially ready to break more NFL history in 2025, putting him already in Hall of Fame territory. Since kicker isn't as prioritized as much as other positions of free agency, Aubrey isn't going to be making the same as Parsons, Lamb, or Prescott. This should be a clear-cut deal that Jones can get out of the way before the preseason even starts. Let me know what you think about Brandon Aubrey. Does he deserve a new deal? Let me know. Cowboys fans could be handed a gift if the Broncos make a head-scratching roster move, and this player would fix a glaring Cowboys roster hole. The Dallas Cowboys have done a nice job bolstering roster this offseason, but they still have 2 glaring holes that could wreck Brian Schottenheimer's first season as head coach. As much as the George Pickens trade improved the offense, the state of the cornerback and nose tackle rooms are keeping fans up at night. On top of not re-signing Jordan Lewis, Trayvon Diggs is expected to miss the start of the season, and defensive tackle Mozzie Smith has not lived up to his first-round billing. The Cowboys need to add to both positions before week 1. Well, they could be handed a gift by none other than the Broncos, who could move on from cornerback Jaquan McMillian this offseason to save a cap room. Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report recently circled the best player who could still be cut from all 32 teams. He landed on McMillian for the Broncos, citing their selection of defensive back Jahdae Barron in the first round, potentially pushing him out of the starting lineup. McMillian isn't a world beater, but Dallas just needs capable bodies, and he's been a serviceable starter for Denver. A former undrafted free agent, McMillian has posted at least 61.8 coverage grade in each of the last 3 seasons, according to PFF. He's allowed a 67% completion rate when targeted for his career and has been a plus run defender, which is imperative for slot cornerback. McMillian's 31 defensive stops last season tied for the 3rd most among cornerbacks. He did miss 12 tackles, but that ranked in the middle of the pack for the position. Even Jordan Lewis, who was arguably Dallas's best defender in 2024, was credited with 11 missed tackles by PFF. Assuming a trade for Jalen Ramsey is out of the equation, the Cowboys would be smart to monitor McMillian's status with the Broncos. While Denver wouldn't save a ton of money by cutting the 24-year-old, he might be the odd man out in what is suddenly a very crowded secondary in the Mile-High City. He could be the answer to Dallas's nickel conundrum that currently has a rotation of Daron Bland, Israel Makuamu, and Gianne Thomas at OTAs. Of course, apologies for butchering these guys' names. Hopefully I can figure out how to say them as the season moves on. And now we're going to take a look at one guy who is turning heads at OTAs with a jaw-dropping physique. The Dallas Cowboys made multiple trades this offseason that have the potential to make a huge impact. But they were not all that active as far as signing free agents. As far as underrated signings go, defensive lineman Solomon Thomas could be a sneaky good pickup. Thomas steps in as one of the most experienced defenders on the roster. Despite entering his age 30 season, he is in absolute mesmerizing shape as OTAs kick off. Look, it's not earth-shattering news that an NFL player is chiseled like a Greek god. Plenty of players have physiques that make the average human look like stick figures. Cowboy fans shouldn't go expecting Thomas to make his first Pro Bowl just because he's in excellent shape. Having said that, you can understand why the front office made a push to bring in a 9th-year vet. He clearly takes his craft seriously, but is also a good rotation piece for the defensive line and a great player to have in the locker room. Thomas won't do much to help Dallas's run defense, but he is an ideal backup to play behind Osa Udoizi at the 3 technique position. His 22 pressures and 16 hurries last season were his most since 2021. The former number 3 overall pick is good for around 500 snaps every year, which is a relief because Odoizi logged the 2nd most snaps of any interior defender in 2024. While he only got stronger in the second half of the season, that is a ridiculous workload. Call it good lighting. Maybe Thomas knew he was being photographed and made sure to flex extra hard for the camera. Regardless, he looks to be in the best shape of his life, entering his 9th season in the league. And that can only mean good news for the Cowboys. And on to our next topic. After what Dallas Cowboys fans deemed as a dismal start to the 2025 offseason, things have turned around and there's some tangible optimism for the 2025 season. The George Pickens trade seemed to be getting less controversial by the day. Sure, there's still concern about his on-field antics, but don't get it twisted. The Cowboys badly needed someone like him to contribute with CeeDee Lamb. Lamb has already praised his new teammate by calling Pickens another number 1 option. This could also be a make-or-break year for Daron Bland, who was an All-Pro in 2023 and has consistently had Trayvon Diggs back whenever Diggs has been injured. For Pickens and Bland, Ryan Smith of PFF believes both players are under pressure. With the Pittsburgh Steelers not having a real offensive plan since Ben Roethlisberger's retirement, Pickens hasn't gotten a fair chance to sign in his young years. Whether or not this has been a reason to Pickens' past tirades is no excuse for him to act up on the field. But with Prescott and Lamb set to make strong comebacks in 2025, Smith says that this is the big opportunity for Pickens to not just be a short-term project with Dallas. For Bland, he was a pick-6 machine back in 2023, as he broke what seemed to be an impossible record by snagging 5 interception returns for touchdowns. With a hovering cloud over the future of Diggs, Jones might be caught in a pickle by choosing between the future of Diggs and Bland. And with significant knee injuries hindering Diggs' career, this could be a huge year for Bland. As Smith says, Bland's spot isn't all that safe either with the addition of Siobhan Ravel. Obviously, all eyes will be on Schottenheimer, but for Bland and Pickens, they will have a lot at stake for the upcoming season as well. And that is our show for today. Give us your thoughts on the topics we covered in the comment section below. Give us a thumbs up if you like our video. Hit that subscribe button down below. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can buy us a coffee by scanning the QR code right there, or just go to buymeacoffee.com/thebigd. As always, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. And with that, thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.